Welcome to another episode of American Heroes Outdoors. This week's opportunity came to us from a good friend, Mike Law of Coulee Land Company, to set up Marco Solt, who's a veteran with an amazing muzzleloader opportunity to hunt whitetails in Wisconsin. Marco's story is truly inspirational, as he was injured in the line of service, losing both of his legs. His story is a story of tragedy, but also overcoming adversity, an amazing inspiration to all of us.
We also highlight the next SCHEELS Hometown Hero, Ben Cannon.
American Heroes Outdoors shares the stories of our nation's true heroes. A documentation of journey, commitment, struggle, and healing. A glimpse into the sacrifice and bravery of our service men and women.
There he is, baby. There he is.
This is American Heroes Outdoors.
She barks.
I had never shot a muzzleloader before, and in my life. Didn't know how to load one or anything like that. And so when I get there and I meet Mike, and he's showing me all these properties, and he's like, all right, we're gonna go and sight in this rifle.
A couple friends of mine, and got us a gun to shoot.
Cool.
The CVA, I called a buddy of mine I filmed with for a long time, Tony Smotherman. He now works for CVA. Told him what we were doing. Guys like that are more than happy to help. Same thing with Vortex. I called Vortex, told them what we were doing a TV show here. They said, absolutely, how can we help? Just want to let you know, you're taking that home with you.
Well. Oh, dude. Holy smokes, man.
So that's what,
hey.
That's what I love about this business. But to me, there's something sacred about a guy getting a new gun,
Yeah.
shooting it for the first time.
Hey, man. Hey. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have a decent idea of how to shoot and things like that, but Mike took it to a different level. Like, we spent hours, it seemed like, sighting in that rifle. Maybe it was because I was so excited to hunt it seemed like it was that long, but we shot a lot of rounds through that rifle to get it sighted in, and Mike was not going to let me leave that range until I felt like he was confident in pulling that trigger. I had never met someone for a hunting purposes that was that precise into getting that rifle sighted in. When a deer comes in, it's just not, you don't just pull up the rifle and get ready to shoot. There's a little bit of a process with the muzzleloader and the steps you have to take to reload if you do miss or anything like that. And he went the full 10 yards, to make sure that I was squared away and good to go. Mike was awesome.
I'm super excited to get out here and actually see up close what everyone's been bragging about. And yeah, just a gorgeous property, man. I'm happy to be here.
So the first stand that we got into, we were sitting over a switch cut grass field and some soybeans, and it didn't take long, and the first group of does start coming out, I believe, from way across the field, maybe 300 yards or something like that. And you started counting, it's like, oh, there's 4 there. And then you'd go down, take a sip of water, and you'd look up, and you'd have to blink a couple times because, that group of deer doubled, and there's 8 there. And then you'd sit and watch those 8 for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you'd say, what is that? And all of a sudden below you, there's 4 or 5 more deer coming out. And there's a watering hole that was half frozen over, and they actually started walking on the frozen water, looking at the ice a little bit. And then, next thing you know, I think we had upwards of close to 30 deer. I think it was like 24, 25 deer out in front of us, and then to end it off, we had a really good looking, I think it was like a 6 or 7 pointer or something like that came out right from under us. It was kind of cool because it got me really excited because you're sitting there in this redneck and you're looking out straight, and all of a sudden you just kind of see bone from the bottom of the shooting glass start to stick out. And you're like, buck. And it's like, oh, okay. And it was a smaller one, but it was still cool. They just came right out there, and he sat there, and we're at the end of the night thinking, how the heck are we going to get down? There's 30 deer at this point now, all within 100 yards of us. Just feeding, like, we can't get down. You know, otherwise we're going to spook them all. That was a night that I'll never forget because I've never seen that many deer. We are going to be hunting the same property that we were at this morning, but instead of hunting the transition area, we're actually going to go to the food, and I guess they've been seeing some deer going in and out of there in the later parts of the afternoon. Sounds like we're going to be sitting over some corn, play the game and see what we see, and some good stuff in our favor, and I think it's going to happen tonight. I'm pretty excited. It's been phenomenal just meeting all these people and seeing some great deer on beautiful property. Yeah, I left the Monday after deer opener, actually, of 2009. I remember my recruiter at the time, he gave me a couple different options of when I could leave for basic. He said there was like a August option, a September option, and then a November option. And I was like, well, I don't want to miss out on my last summer, and if I have the opportunity to go hunting one more time before joining the Army, I'm going to do it. So I remember going out, freaking out, I need to get a deer, didn't end up getting one, and then Monday shipped out. So went there that Monday morning after getting skunked deer and started another life. I mean, the whole thing, I really do remember the whole incident. We had been on a dismounted patrol, and I was a crow gunner at the time, so I was inside a vehicle, and I had a screen in front of me, and I was running a 50 cal gun on top of that. And I was looking through the camera screen, and I noticed that our LT and one of my buddies were in a conversation, and they made the decision that they were going to mount back up on the vehicles. From there, we all buckled in, and about 20 yards after we loaded up, the IED went off. And when the IED went off, I remember looking forward, and my head swaying and hitting the glass to the left of me, and then I got knocked out. But I woke up and gained consciousness maybe 5 seconds later when the truck re-hit the ground. It blew up. I went out, heard the boom, felt my head hit. I was out, and then when the truck landed on its side, that's when I re-awoke, and yeah, then we took the situation from there. So from the battlefield, we flew in, and I had some emergency surgery still done in Afghanistan at Ghazni at their emergency room. And then they just got me cleaned up, and then from there I moved on to Bagram Air Force Base just to get me even more flight ready. And then once that happened, they got me cleaned up, they flew me to Walter Reed out in Bethesda, Maryland. Well, it helped that I wasn't the only amputee there, I think. You know, I mean, a part of having a super strong support system from my wife and family who were all there and really kept me going through all of this. It was seeing other vets that were further along in the amputee process than I was. You know, you got there and there were guys that were fresh to the table like me, you know, just got blown up a couple days ago, and then there was guys that were running on the treadmill that had been 6 months post-injury or a year post-injury, and you know, they're in there squatting or hiking, or you know, you see guys shooting bows or whatever and doing whatever they can to rehab. And so the strong support system, and then just going into physical therapy every day and seeing, like, look, there's guys that are, you know, blown off at the hip or, you know, both legs and an arm, and they're figuring it out. You know, they got their struggles just like you do, some more than me. And they still come in here every day, and even if it's a fake smile, they put it on and they put in the work.
We're on a new farm today. We're sitting on a nice soybean field that has a turnip plot connected to it. We're just now starting to get the deer to start funneling into the field and starting to get some activity, so just looking up to be a pretty eventful evening. Hopefully something happens here soon.
Like, because in the beginning, it sucks. You know, you're in pain all the time, your body's adjusting, you want to go faster, you know, your mind is in better shape than what my legs were. So it did get frustrating. You did, you know, in the beginning have a lot of times where you just didn't want to show up and things like that. But, you know, you don't eat an elephant at once. You know, it's all, you know, bite by bite. So, you know, that's just kind of the mindset you got to do. You got to, first let's get you back to doing sit-ups, and then we'll get you to walking, and then we'll get you to maybe a light jog, and then we'll get you to running. And, you know, it's going to hurt, and it's going to take time. But, yeah, it sucked in the beginning. But in the end, you know, you kind of figure it out that it gets easier.
American Heroes Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota, Smoky Hills Outdoor Store, Skeeter Boats, and YAMAHA Outboards, Woodland Resort, Otter Tail Lakes Country, YAMAHA, Ice Castle Fish Houses, S&S Promotional Group, and Wheelers Point Resort.
Watched where he went into the tree line at, called everybody up and let them know that we thought that we had made a good hit on the deer. Hadn't confirmed anything yet, but we want to check the camera because of the smoke and then just double check. We did that, found out that, thought I made a good shot on him. He walked over to where the camera said that he walked in at, and there's blood right there. And at this point in time, it might have been, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. It was pretty dark. When we walked just to check the tree line, and we were with Mike, and he looked at the blood, and it was maybe napkin size blood on the ground. Every 5 or 10 yards, there's either a golf ball to tennis ball spot of blood there. And Mike made the decision. He says, you know what, just judging off of the blood that we've seen in the video, I think that you killed this buck, and if it's dead tonight, it'll be dead in the morning. There's no reason to push it. Can't sleep, and then the next morning it's 8 o'clock in the morning. We get out there and getting ready to think we're going to make a recovery on this buck, and we go right to where we stopped the night before and start going through the brush. We had a dog and a tracker with us, and I'm about 5 yards behind him, and then all of a sudden you see leaning over the pearly white antlers, and you just know that it's him laying there. And the guy goes, "There's your buck," and as he says that, there he jumps up, and you could see his shoulder was hurting, and he wasn't running too fast, but he was hurt, but he wasn't dead, and he basically made the decision that it wasn't worth tracking anymore. So from there, we hopped back on the four-wheelers and went back to camp and said our goodbyes, and yeah, it is what it is. It's hunting. Yeah, it still sucks. It's not like that was just a gorgeous 8-pointer. He was just even on both sides, wide, tall. He was just a good-looking deer. I mean, finally it happens or it doesn't happen, and you just kind of got to deal with those emotions as they come, and just understand that, if you just keep putting the work in and you just keep coming out here, sooner or later good things will happen, and it will all come together. So, yeah, in terms of life and hunting, yeah, it's one and the same. You just got to keep picking at it one day at a time, and sooner or later, you'll win big. It took me how many hours to see that buck, and how many deer did we have to watch to see that deer? So it just goes to show, it didn't happen on the first day. You don't just go out there to a good spot and big deer show up. You got to put in your time, and it's not always going to be easy, and you're going to get cold, you're going to get hungry or whatever, but it's just put in your time and enjoy every part of it, because if it ain't for the crappy parts, it wouldn't make the good parts as enjoyable. If that buck would have came out on the very first night at 5:30, this conversation wouldn't be as cool, So, you just got to take the good and the bad and just enjoy all of it.
Unknown to Marco, the crew from Buffalo County found the sheds from his buck this past spring. We had the opportunity to surprise Marco with them during his interview.
Oh, sheds? Those the sheds? What? Wow. Wow, they found them, huh? They came across them, huh? Wow, at least he made it, right? Holy smokes, well, there's part of them. Wow, that's awesome. hey, Mike, thank you for everything you did for me and putting this hunt on. You truly are a wizard in the hunting world. Everything you showed me, taught me is just great. Jeff at Homegrown, thank you for putting me up and putting me on a great spot and going out and putting the work and finding my buck sheds. Just everybody, American Heroes, everybody that helped me out. It's just, thank you so much. This hunt was great. I can't explain it. Yeah, this is awesome.
90% of the people that I talked to that were military veterans themselves all said, you need to meet Ben Cannon, you need to meet Ben Cannon. And I'm like, okay, well, who's Ben Cannon? And, you know, it's like the largest guy in the gym, right?
Welcome to SCHEELS Hometown Heroes.
SCHEELS Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks
to those that serve our country and our community.
And are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at SCHEELS, thank you for your service.
Hey everyone, Ben Johnson here from SCHEELS in St. Cloud. We're here at Stay Fit to honor our next hometown hero. We're here to surprise Ben Cannon today, so follow me.
Everybody, I'd like you to introduce you to Ben Cannon. Now everybody knows I nominated Ben for this hunt that we're doing in North Dakota. You're leaving tomorrow, matter of fact, right?
Correct.
I'm another friend of mine here. This is Ben from SCHEELS, and he has something he'd like to say to you.
Ben, on behalf of St. Cloud SCHEELS, I'd like to honor you as our next hometown hero. I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for our country, and you're doing great things here, so thank you.
So I'd always wanted to be in the military ever since I was a little kid. It was always a dream of mine. And after high school, I had my opportunity. It was kind of a now or never chance, and I took it. So I first served with the 82nd Airborne out of North Carolina. I did a 15-month tour in Afghanistan with them. I was with the 1st, the 508th. And then from there I went to 4th Infantry Division, where I did a 12-month tour in Iraq and another 9-month tour in Afghanistan. And then from there, I was a drill sergeant for 2 years. After my time as a drill sergeant, I went up to Alaska and served with 4th Brigade, 25th ID.
He's from here, I'm from here. He went to Tech, I went to Apollo. We met in Iraq. Our moms had met on this battalion Facebook page, so we were part of the same battalion. He was Bravo Company, I was Alpha Company. One of our moms had said, you know, sending love from St. Cloud, Minnesota. The other mom chimed in and was like, well, I'm sending love from St. Cloud, Minnesota. So then he came over and was like, oh, I'm looking for, you know, at the time I was Specialist Kerfeld. And I was like, yeah. He's like, hey, I'm Sergeant Cannon. I'm like, hey. He's like, I'm from Bravo Company. I'm like, okay, what's up? And he's like, well, our moms kind of know each other. And I was like, okay, cool.
I started talking to him and, you know, started to learn more about Ben the man, and he's got an incredible story, and two, he's as genuine as can be.
I went to Ranger School en route to Alaska from my drill assignment. I ended up getting meningitis and encephalitis from the combat water survival portion of Ranger School. I didn't realize I was sick until it was too late, and ended up hitting me pretty hard. I was in the hospital for I think 16 days. I lost my speech, lost my vision, pretty much lost all cognitivity. I had to go through 2 years of speech therapy. I had to go through 2 years of cognitive rehab. Being a strong leader and, you know, really trying to embrace Army values and put forth everything I believe in, you know, then to be medically retired was definitely a hard hit, and that was an extremely tough transition, trying to accept that, you know, I was no longer good enough to be among the ranks. Having to swallow that pill was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Aside from his military accomplishments and where he's been, what he's done, I mean, he's just a great person. Whether take the Army out of it, he should be nominated for something. I mean, he'll do anything for anyone. He'll answer his phone at any time of the day. I mean, whatever it is, He'll give you good advice. He'll give you advice you don't want to hear or you do want to hear. I mean, he's just all around just a great guy.
If somebody needs something, he is the first person there. He'll drop whatever he's doing. I mean, I've heard stories of him talking to people for hours for whatever reason, especially veteran friends of his. You know, if they need a friend or just somebody to talk to, Ben is the guy.
I find myself in the gym as much as possible. The present or past service members, if there's anything that they need at all, a shoulder to cry on or someone to talk to, I just try to give them that comfort and let them know without trying to really push them to talk or to have to get out of their comfort zone. I just try to let them know that there's someone there that's either gone through similar experiences or can be of any kind of a support to them. Anyone who's thinking about joining, I definitely take those individuals under my wing and I try to give them as much knowledge as I can to try and set them up for success before they join so that they have an idea of what they're getting into and what direction they're going to want to go to make them as successful as possible.
Oh, we're best friends now. Yeah, there isn't, you know, you always have your friends that you're from here, you know, move back. I was away for about 8 years. Move back, you still have your connections from home, but then you kind of have a different connection with, you know, ones you served with. That was kind of working out, that was your release overseas, you know, you really didn't have much else. We got, you know, pretty close there and we worked out, and then now you come back and it's like, now you got a new Lipton buddies back that you didn't have before, so it's kind of a cool way to like go back to where it all began.
Join us next week as we head south to the Sunshine State to visit Colonel Scott St. Sauver's Snowbird Retreat.